When an individual thinks of a treatment center, they will probably visualize something of a class of individuals that are less than. Dancing, smiling, laughing with people that are close to you is something that we all love to enjoy. But in group functions, we look around and we see these smiles and laughter, and we sometimes wonder, is that real? What's really going on? Can I ask that person? We really have to learn to not fear speaking to an individual, really understanding exactly what it is that's going on in the world, and stop allowing them to sweep those fears and discomforts under the rug. My name is Charles, and I'm trying to figure this out. And that's my addiction. And this addiction is shared by many. I travel across the United States with women who really love to feel beautiful about themselves. We all are trying to achieve that oxytocin that our brain naturally secretes to make us feel good. It doesn't matter if we are hugging our puppy, our child, or buying shoes or toys, in my case, camera and video equipment. We all have that high that we're trying to achieve, and that is no different in the addiction world. A great deal of my time is spent negotiating with models to try to figure out who has the most worth and who can give the other the most advantage in their pursuit of their art career. Many women dream of going to New York Fashion Week, and when they do achieve that, the brain releases dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, or endorphin. Thousands of expression tellers find their way to New York. New York Fashion Week is the fourth largest fashion event on the planet. They all come with different styles of expressions. You have your makeup artists, you have your designers, photographers, choreographers, event goers, people looking for different clothing for their stores. But there's one thing that we all have in common, and we're all following that one bliss hormone. I wish we could all understand what that was, and I think the outcome of New York Fashion Week would be a lot different. She normally cannot play on a daily basis. To live inside that little girl that she's always wanted to express. Freedom, expression of freedom. That's what art is all about, and the models that I see that really possess that, they really excite me, and we usually get great work when things like that happen.
Hey, I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to do a photo shoot because you know I'm also very nice.
Hey guys, it's me, Mari Lotus, and we're here at SM Global Fashion Catwalk in Fashion Week. And I'm here with Ava. Please, a beautiful top model. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Eva Navaloska. I'm Ukrainian model.
Eva is not the only person that receives the high from the hormone boost that she received from achieving her dream. I must say that I also get satisfaction out of this as well.
And happened to be that I've been invited by one of my best friends and also a photographer, which I shoot a few times, and I think he is like the next star.
What's his name? Who's the photographer that you've been shooting with?
It's Chuck. He has amazing work, and I think us being together in New York, it's like and explore New York at the same time. Like I think he's a very successful photographer, and I believe I'm a successful model and aspiring actress, and I'm being in the right time in the right place. Fashion show in New York.
You're in the right time in the right place. Please set me up a photo shoot with him. Yes, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm Mari Lotus in Global Fashion Week. Thank you guys.
This pursuit of euphoria can be fixed pretty quickly. If you took away the cameras and the lights, there would not be very many options left. But on the other hand, finding options for an individual that is hooked on some type of pain medication or other substances, it's a little bit more difficult.
Okay, in this back area, there is a dispensary for the nurses. There are counselors.
Most facilities are unknown to the general public. we have these visions of what they should look like or what they think we know about addiction clinics. These clinics are very unique and looks just like a normal doctor's office. They're not filled with a bunch of people in corners shaking from withdrawals. They are top of the line, high-end clinics.
Patient is requesting and age sometimes. That's our mental health professional. That's Miss Kathleen.
Okay.
Gender, sexual orientation, numbers. Numbers are a big deal in this field.
Got it. Okay.
And then our intake counselor will come out and get them. If they've been pre-screened over the phone, then they'll just wait to go into the group process. If not, then they'll have their screening here to make sure that they're appropriate. And part of that criteria is to have been opiate addicted for at least 2 years. They come in, they get their medical exam, they get a history of physical with the doctor, the orders are written for the medication that they're going to take, and then they start the process. So Suboxone and Subutex patients are able to phase up every 30 days.
These two individuals have a combined 60 plus years in the healthcare industry. My question to them is, what advice, what information could you give someone out there in the world listening that would give them a clue or the tools in their arsenal to be able to predict, see, and help an individual that is suffering from some type of medication abuse?
I'd say watch the inconsistencies with what they say and what they do. Watch how they spend their time, who they spend their time with, where their money is going. Sometimes it's as simple as appearance. It might be this young lady that you know, your sister or whatever, always did her hair and always had her makeup on. And now you see her, she's always looking a little scruffy. Inability to look you in the eye, avoiding events and situations with family, never going to work or seem to always be at work, weight loss, and then specific to if they're going through withdrawal so much as like tremors in their hands, how about the sweating, constantly with the sniffles and things like that because they've never had allergies before, the watery eyes, and just the telltale signs that something is not quite right. I would encourage anybody to address that, but to go in with some compassion and respect and ask a question versus making a statement.
Listen to how Vilma explains what it's like to be off opioids for approximately 1 year.
To me is to be able to feel, see, and smell things that I haven't been able to do while I was using. Happiness is being in this moment right now and being able to see things differently, to see the cloud, the skies, the trees that I usually were not able to notice in the past throughout my addiction. I notice things that I haven't noticed in the longest time, and that's what happiness to me is right now.
We're in a small town in America where addiction levels are even higher than anywhere else. People don't have as many opportunities, jobs, or things to distract themselves with. And when people are bored, they're more likely to use if they're presented with the opportunity or drugs in front of them. Addiction doesn't discriminate. It has no age limit, race, ethnicity, your income level. It touches any family, anywhere.
Getting help and diagnosing the remedies to overcome opioid addiction might not be as easy as one thinks. So what I decided to do is to consult a doctor at the Coat Center of Pittsburgh.
And their medical problem is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. Right? There's certain for the vast majority of those people, behavioral things that got them into the dis-ease state of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or diabetes. And we use medications in order to, what we say, control those processes that are going on in the body. Those medicines in and of themselves change the body's chemistry, change the body's physiology. But what ends up happening for those people is if they don't change the food they're eating, the exercise they're getting, the stress they're under, then those medicines won't do anything for them. So it's a similar kind of thing with any other medication. If you talk about benzodiazepine medicines or opiate medications, even stimulant medicines as well. They have their purpose, and the individual takes them, and then maybe it helps to lessen the symptoms of whatever the medical problem that we're talking about is. But again, those things are just temporary. It can be just temporary fixes to something that has a more definitive solution. If the person who is overweight and has diabetes is able to adjust their eating patterns, is able to adjust their exercise pattern, is able to do those things, then they wouldn't require medication. So very similar thing if we're talking about Suboxone or methadone or any maintenance medication. If they change the things that got them to where they are, then the medication is no longer required. But that's a hard thing for people to realize.
Giving an individual knowledge of stressful situations and how to avoid them, this is where the Coach Center of Pittsburgh comes into play.
Or using opiates to begin with. Stress is also a major factor in dealing with recovery. That's where our counselors come in. They help patients deal with stressful situations, the triggers that may put them back to where they were when they were using, and dealing with stress helps you deal with addiction. So our counselors really help with training the brain to deal with those things that sent you back there in the first place.
Taking medication alone is not a good idea. That's why the Coach Center of Pittsburgh provides counseling to those to aid them in transitioning off of their habit.
So getting enlightenment or education, and especially getting the insight from other members of the group. With individual, you might need to have more specialized or concentrated help. You might have a particular problem, you might have additional problems with mental health issues, or you may be still experiencing pain, or you may have had trauma in your life and you have to deal more specifically with that. You need to have more direct concentration on that.
The question I get asked often is, what are you doing? You're a photographer, now filmmaker. How are you combining photography and opioid addiction? One thing that I did for the past 5 years is travel coast to coast, and I would bring in all the clothing and props and shoot these retreats with women from all walks and backgrounds. These women were not models. These women were mostly middle-aged women that were trying to find happiness, trying to find that high, something that would give them that euphoric feeling. We would get women from all over the country, and they would all come in one specific location. We would have sometimes 5, sometimes 28 women. We would all get hair and makeup prepared for them, and they would all sit down and talk on this 2-day retreat. Some of the things I heard from these women were, I never knew that I could be so close to another woman. Women are not my friend. I can't find any female friends. This is what I've understood through this whole process, is that euphoric feeling, that sense of being appreciated was something heavily on the minds of all the women that came in. Now, some took different paths of achieving that, but one thing that I did find out is that a lot of these women had a substance abuse issue. And this is why I have combined both of these two together, because I can attract these women in and also get information that I need in order to understand and try to spread a message of what it takes to actually change your environment and become one with yourself and achieve the things in life that you would like to actually achieve without fearing others holding you back. And that's a part of the process of beating the opioid addiction. You have to change your environment. You have to get around positive people. You can't continue to do the same things and land in the same environment and expect to get outside of that drug-infested world. In all the events that we've done across the United States, it's not out of the ordinary to see a bunch of women huddle up on the bed together, dressed up in all of the clothing that we put them in, living out their childhood dreams of tea parties and playing dress up. And what we do is we allow them to bond with each other. They automatically open up. They tell each other stories. They talk about sexual problems, drug addiction problems. They really bond and they have a great time. So what we try to do is have them live out some of those fantasies. It is in my belief that every woman lives in a world that is almost towing the line between fantasy and reality. They always dream. You will look in any woman's closet and you will find clothes with the tag still on them, because when she went out and purchased that item, she looked at that item and she thought in her mind that one day in this certain situation, I will be able to present myself in a way that looks just like it does in my head right now. Those chances don't happen often, but in the addiction world, women need this bonding process. They need someone that they can depend on. Sometimes these women tell things that they have not told their parents. A good communicator needs to deal with life on life's terms. Being able to explain this is well above my pay grade, so I'm going to let Dr. Joshua Goodrum from the Code Center of Pittsburgh give his expertise opinion.
And this comes from traditional AA and NA sort of approaches of the idea of life on life's terms, the inability to deal with life as it is. Therein lies the problem. But again, for some people, their way of escaping life as it is just more harmful and consequential compared to other ones. So, for example, if you get in the car and you're driving somewhere and you turn on the radio, just because if you can't just sit there and drive, why can't we just sit there, drive, and go where we need to go? Why do we need to distract ourselves from reality? That's the exact same behavior as shooting dope in your arm. The difference being it's less harmful and less consequential. A substance in and of itself isn't the problem. Yes, benzodiazepine medicines, opiate medicines, antidepressant medicines, all these things have chemical effects in the brain. But so does eat food. So does our behavior in general. So does watching violent movies. That has a different biochemical, neurochemical effect in the brain as well. So medication in and of itself isn't harmful, given all things being equal. But the individual who takes it and the manner they take it and their reasoning behind why they take it, therein lies the issue with whether or not a medicine is good or bad, harmful or not harmful. And that's true for any kind of medication.
My personal opinion, I'm not speaking for everyone else, but I'm tired to be sexualized in my images. I'm not looking for it. I mean, I got it, I'm sexy and I know it, so pretty much. But I actually want to
Why?
Me personally.
Why? What point in life, or what made you decide that, you know what I wanted then is not what I want now. I don't want to be sexualized in this way. You know what? I'm going to rethink this. What happened?
Experience, of course. Well, when you're young, you kind of let the guys around you. It starts with your father, I guess, and then it starts with your friends, classmates, first in school, then university, then your friends in the street, when you hang out in your neighborhood. They start, those males start defining who you are by comments they make and
Are you
how they take
sure
it.
the males are the ones who are defining who you are, or is it the person listening to them, allowing them to define you? Because no one can force you to do anything.
It's an insecure girl who looking for confirmation of is she beautiful, is she sexy. In fact, I don't even knew what word sexy means.
Tell me what the 40-year-old Eva would say.
I think for the 40 years of Eva, it was important to like and be satisfied with yourself most. Not to try to define. I mean, I've done all my definition. I know who I am. And cannot compete with myself at this point. So, 40 years Eva, it's better to accomplish something that she could proud of herself.
Define proud. What does that look like, being proud? Explain that to me.
It all comes from internal power and internal recognition of your achievements. Start with loving yourself and appreciating yourself.
How do you love yourself?
Like I said, it's appreciation actually where I came from, what I've done to pursue my dreams and career.
So that's loving what you've done. How do you love you? So how can you say that I'm confident,
right, but
I allow other people to affect me?
That's true. So the loving yourself is your confidence and believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe accepting mistakes and maybe imperfections in the first place. That's true. The key word is accept yourself as you are.
You are worried about what other people think.
I was quite worried, and this is the transformation that started in 16 when I had nothing, I had no protection or barriers. Now I have a gate. You can say, so you mentioned earlier, I have
walls.
Mm-hmm. I have these walls, but I had to create this with experience and loving myself, and not to let everyone in my space and communicating my statement by knowing where my boundaries is, by knowing who I am, mm-hmm. and not letting people to define who I am.
So by creating a wall to keep people out, people have defined who you are, because you have defined yourself based on what other people think of you. So what you're trying to prevent, you have now just created.
It didn't follow your logic, because now I'm no longer depending on what people say.
A wall to keep people from coming in?
Mm-hmm.
You've created that wall. Why? Because you didn't want those people to come in, right?
Yeah.
So now these people have made you create this wall. They dictated that, not you. You created this wall for them. So therefore, you are not living your life for you. You're living your life for those other people. You've created a war, a wall, a protection based on others' opinions. But you tell yourself that I'm confident, I'm in control. But you're not in control if you're allowing others to dictate what you do. I don't have a wall. These people will never, ever tell me what to do. These people will never change my mind. I will do what the hell I want to do. To me, that's power and confidence. I have no fear. Come on in. I'll let you know what I want. I'll tell you exactly my emotions, my feelings. If you don't like it, leave. Now I'm in control of my world. Because now the only people who are going to come in my world are people who understand me and can take me. And that's the real me.
Right.
Now, if I build a wall, that's a fake me. That's a representative. People don't know who I really am. So how can I build a life on something that is fake? Because it's not really me.
Right. I think we just have misunderstanding about the concept of the world. What I meant to say is no, the guys no longer define who I am. They don't define my sexuality or am I sexy and beautiful. No one defined my beauty either.
What is beauty?
Well, beauty is asymmetry. So symmetry. Number one, it's biological health and symmetry. That's a simple definition of beauty.
A rock can be beautiful.
Then it goes beyond.
A puppy can be beautiful.
That's true. Anything can be beautiful.
Exactly. I believe in moral consistency.
Now, what's the beauty then got defined? So this is first layer. Beautiful outside or appearance beautiful. It's just a healthy person with the symmetrical features. That's
a
beauty.
big fat woman.
Biological.
A big fat woman with pimples on her face
can be beautiful too.
Can be.
You don't by chance have one close by anywhere, do you?
Lord have mercy, man. You come on.
Can be beautiful too.
She can be beautiful as well. Here's the way.
Because you didn't let me explain myself. Sure. This is the first level of definition. It's like a primitive. It's on the surface. That's what laying on the surface. You can see it with your eyes, and we judge people in the first 30 seconds or even 5 seconds in some regard. So then it goes beyond to it. And it goes. We're talking about inside beauty. We listen to the person. We hear what he has to say. What's drive that person? What's principle he lives by? And we find this beautiful, attractive. Or then it goes situational beauty. A person act the way which is beautiful. Like say, a father is tightening a little shoe on his daughter. We find the situation is beautiful because it's such an essence, like man and power, beautiful. Little girl and he's tightening the shoes. That's beautiful. Or an older man holding the hands of older woman and they've been together for 17 years or 60 years.
Is that what you want to be?
Holding someone's hand?
Yes. I already know your answer. I already know your answer.
What's my answer?
You can't go there with your head. Your head does not calculate that. That is something that you maybe would be nice, but it's not realistic for you to even go there. It's almost like a fantasy for you to go there. Because that wall that you've created does not allow you to go there, because that's something not attainable to you. Because in order to get there, you have to give yourself up. You have to let go. You fear letting yourself go. So I'm playing with you right now, because what I'm doing is I'm asking you, you just told me that's beautiful. That's beauty. Now, why would you not want something beautiful? But then when I say, okay, do you want that beautiful? Then you stop. And you do not, you become your own enemy. Because your soul wants that. Your true feelings on the inside wants that holding the hands at 50 years old. But then your brain comes into play and you start saying, I don't like the work that I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to let myself go and be vulnerable, and I'm a powerful and strong woman, and I can't have that. Your mind can't go there.
I don't think so. I mean,
of course you don't.
No, I think you're not getting a good feeling with me.
You
can change the definition of beauty. I mean, you cannot change these beautiful things that are beautiful, like situation, as I explained. Would I want to be there? I think I do. I just didn't. In my experience, I just didn't find a perfect, man that I can see the beauty to the rest.
You have to be perfect first.
Well, maybe too, and that's true as well. But
so if your first answer is that I need to find that perfect man, first of all, you need to be able to describe you, because you have to know you first. In order to know you, in order to find that perfect man, you have to know what you're offering him.
I totally agree with you. I think we should start with ourselves. We should know ourselves.
So who are you?
I'm still defining myself.
So if you're still defining yourself, it's very difficult to find that perfect man, though, isn't it?
That's true.